incorporated out of Delaware, and because I had office anonymity, I'm a nightclub owner. I don't want people using a product, it would be like a conflict of interest. So, I incorporated out in Delaware, and as you know, I had a very big email list that I was using to promote the club, and we launched in the summer and started sending that out.
Was it just you, or did you?
It was just me. It was just me at that time. I was a one-man show.
Wow.
And I was actually Lee Rogers, so that was my alias. It sounded very Anglo and very professional and very northern.
That's hilarious.
And is it okay to say these things?
We'll edit.
So we launched in the summer, and like I said, I had a big list. So the club was a very known club, so my eyes were on me from competitors always. So when competitors started seeing, this guy's using Emo Brain, next thing I know, every nightclub in town was using Emo Brain and paying for it.
Smart.
So I said, wow, this is a real business. It wasn't I just wanted to do emo marketing for the club, so it became a business, and I started seeing the potential. And at that time, around 2003, the PPC, Google pay-per-click, wasn't that competitive. So it was, it was easy to go out there and market your business on Google without these huge budgets, because it wasn't that competitive. So I started doing a little Google PPC, and every time I got a little profit, I would put it back into Google PPC. And I started getting clients from all over the world. I'll never forget, one of my first clients was from Iraq, and I would ask him, isn't there a war going on over there? This was like in 2004, and right when it started, and he's like, yeah, but we banked. He had a credit card from what's right next to Israel?
Jordan?
No, not Jordan. The other one.
UAE?
No, the other one.
Egypt?
Lebanon. He had a Lebanese banking card, and it was just fascinating, and it just really made. I became really excited about its possibilities. Seeing all these international clients, and it was just wow. This is it, man. We're onto something here. And so we started, putting more PPC into it, and putting every penny I had, and it just started growing. And we kept adding features. I took a plane ride to South Africa. Finally met the team, and we had a big powwow, and came up with more features, and just started growing this thing.
So when was your first employee, and who was that?
So exactly. So after a while, managing this as a one-man show wasn't working out too well. I was also running a club. So
and you were Lee during the day.
And I was Lee. Yeah, I was like Lee, whatever. And so around 2004, I had my first employee, Stephanie. She's still with us to this day. And Stephanie was going to college at that time. And Stephanie has her degree in business and a master's in business. And she's still with us. She's still with Emo Brain. Totally overqualified and everything, and she's great, and she's like an anchor, and it's really, it's we're proud of that. She's been
your right-hand person,
right? She's basically a right-hand person, and that was in 2004, and then kept on growing. And by 2005, 2006, we added our second employee, which was our building department, and then in 2006 we added our third employee. Around 2005, 2006, we had like 2 employees. Support, rep, and a graphic designer. And then the water started becoming very competitive. Then the PPC, the ROI started decreasing a little bit because more people were entering the space. So we started doing PPC globally. That was that's one of these strategies we implemented. We started doing, back then people would just do PPC in the USA, so I figured, let's open, let's not firewall, if you're looking for email marketing in South America, let Emo Brain come up. And I was doing it in Europe too, and that's why we're getting all these global users. And then in 2006, we had to really try to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the competitors. They were well funded, like Constant Con. There was a lot of well funded email marketing businesses entering in the space, and so we've always had to be creative. Like I said, 2003 we had to get creative in marketing the club because we were on a downtrend, and this time we had to get creative because the competitors were well funded. We weren't, so we figured, what do we do? What do we understand? What is it? We understand global markets, right? We understand the Spanish market. So what the heck? Let's go after the Spanish markets. So we started working on a translation. On a full translation around 2005, late 2006, and early 2007, we launched Emo Brain in Espanol. So we were the first Spanish email marketing U.S.-based email marketing companies with a Spanish translation. So we're actually having Spanish and English. And when we did that, we were fortunate enough to have one of Stefania's friends that just graduated from FIU move back to Colombia, and Natalia. And so Natalia said, you know, she would, till she finds, you know, she wouldn't mind taking on the challenge. And so we set up an office in Colombia, and Natalia would be in charge of running Email Brain in Espanol. And that's proven very, it's been very productive. And so now we have, what, 13 employees? We have 13 employees, one's in Colombia, one's in Venezuela. Our graphic designer, the technical team is based out of South Africa. Some of you met them, Tony, Nick, Paul, and Ernie. We've got about 4,000 clients, and we'll be surpassing $2 million this year in revenue. And
So when we first met, then you got to know Dodster, I guess, you know, the impact coming in. What was your perspective like at that time, you know, joining forces with Dodster? What opportunities did you see? You know, in the late, kind of mid-2000s?
well, I mean, the opportunity was obviously you know, it's great because you had all these properties, so I knew that I would have exposure. I would have access to these properties, and it would be another stream to promote and market the product. I remember coming, and you know, I had done the startup before, and then I'd done my nightclub, and when you're doing your thing and you see an opportunity, you just strike, boom. So I remember when I came, I remember all these meetings, you know, and I remember the structure, and to myself, you know, my question was, I wonder how this is going to be. You know, when you want to implement an idea, when you want to do something a certain way, now you have all these frameworks and these parameters, and so that was a concern, but it was, you know, nothing big. We established a great relationship, and we saw eye to eye. He comes from an international background too, so he understood a lot of these ideas and stuff, and that wasn't a problem. It turned out to be quite productive.
Well, it's been great success too, because it was really those assistants that then helped us tremendously move forward with Dominio. We cooked up an idea trying to think of and acquire. You and I tried to acquire that domain for, we shouldn't use Lee's name now that we should come back to our grassroots, but we tried to, Stephanie tried to pretend she was a student and tried to acquire the domain. Dominio was owned by an investor, Beam Park. And what's interesting is the traffic on it was for Domino Pizza. When you think about, you know,
Dominio, yeah.
and so Dominio is just a mistyped thing for Domino people. And so from that standpoint, the ad traffic on it was such that it was very difficult for us to get a reasonable price. No sale. Dominio's actually was for sale at the time, and the guy had this unrealistic asking price for it. So really we got together, and so we tried to cook up this plan where we gave Stephanie a budget, and so she went out and made several phone calls to no avail. And finally I put the main man on it and said, okay, call. And so you started doing a call out. And
yeah, it didn't go anywhere either.
We didn't go anywhere either. So then with our relationship with Cito, I met with them privately because you get concerned. Because again, an idea like that, you don't want that to get out. It's very delicate. When you start going after a domain, all of a sudden it's just that whole crowd's incestuous. So it's just amazing how. I mean, look what happened at Domain Fest. They get in the hot tub and everyone gets sick. But anyways, I digress. But anyway, so I met with Cito, and they go, okay, I signed an agreement with them. They immediately went to action. And long story short, we successfully acquired the domain. They said literally several days after I met with them, a third party out of South America approached them, and a hosting company, and was trying to acquire the domain. And to their credit, because I was first in, they honored that. And the other company was offering 2-3x more than we were for the domain, but they honored their commitment, which shows a lot about Cito. And we were fortunate to acquire Dominio, which then we threw under domain.com for the interim as we built out then the Spanish version of domain.com.
Which, to all the credit of the technology team back then in Dodster and our little team in Miami, we took on this very Herculean task of getting domain.com and converting it to Spanish. And I always say that I guarantee you, and I'm guessing, but if GoDaddy or one of these highly well-funded big domain companies was to do a move like that, they would probably spend a year in focus groups studying the different Spanishes and how it would affect and who it would insult, and if the Spanish would insult the Mexican, and they'd spend a year in all this bureaucracy, red tape studies in groups, and we did that. We did it. We launched. We did the trans.